everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Rita from Koba.Siani. I'm glad you're tuning in again. And welcome to this new updated sewing video for the red skirt Rita. But not only the tutorial is new and updated, also the pattern and the instruction. The instruction is now with pictures and much more detailed. And the pattern is now done with a computer program, so it's also available in DA0. And there's also good news regarding the sizes. I've added two, and these are XL and XXL. Before we start, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel here or subscribe to my newsletter, which comes monthly. And the link for it is below in the description box. And of course, I'll be happy about a thumbs up here. So I think there's nothing to be added. Get your pattern and let's start sewing. Have fun! Before we really dive into the making process, let's have a look on the pattern. This is the DA0 version and we're going from top to bottom now. The sizes are in different colors and here's also a small size chart and of course the control squares. The different sizes of the waistband are printed in two portions, otherwise it would be too messy with all the notches here. All the notches on the pattern are only these small marks here in the different colors. And when you cut out the pattern in your size, I would suggest to cut in a V shape at all notches. While for the front ruffle there are two separate pattern pieces printed out, for the back ruffle I've only marked the smaller ruffle for the short version with a dashed line. So if you need this smaller pattern piece, you just could fold the pattern along these lines. I also added a pattern for side seam pockets, but these are optional to make. The pattern piece for the back part is now in one big piece without fold. The pieces for the ties are always the same for all sizes, by the way. For most pieces, for example for the front ruffle here, there are two options for the grain line. And it's up to you to decide how to cut this piece exactly. But this surely depends also on your chosen size, your fabric width and your print if you have one. The front and back skirt have also two options for the grain line and these are diagonal to the center front and back. Of course, there's also the possibility to print out the pattern on your own at home in DA4 or US letter size. Here I'm laying the single sheets on the floor, how they should be glued together later. This here is also the order how they came out of the printer. As you can see, the pattern is in three big pieces. I printed out this pattern in grayscales, by the way, and as you can see it here in the close-up picture, this works also very well. The gluing system is quite simple. You just have to match the numbers on the gluing lines. These are the dashed lines in the pattern. Then all the sheets have to be glued together, along the dashed lines of course. Okay, the pattern is ready. As you can see, the upper part of the sheet with the number 6 is belonging to the waistband pattern and the lower part is for the skirt part. At first, I'm cutting my fabric. As you can see it here, I'm working with an African print. The print has a direction with its pineapples and I'm making a short version of the Rita. For other options, if you're making a long Rita or if you're working with a fabric width of 140 cm, I've made other cutting plans for you which you can look up in the written sewing instruction. In the updated Rita pattern, the back part is now also already mirrored and in a whole piece. The front panels, by the way, I'm cutting separately as I want to save some fabric. Here I'm cutting the second front panel of the skirt, which is mirrored, of course, to the first one. All the small pattern pieces I'm just cutting in between the bigger ones. For my ruffle parts now, I have to take care that my pineapples are always in the correct direction and not upside down. The back part ruffle I'm cutting with a fold in the center back, so that this piece is now in one piece and not with a seam in the center back as for the long Rita. For this sample of the Rita skirt, I've tried to add side seam pockets, and this experiment went quite well, at least for stable fabrics like African fabrics. Here is also the link to the separate tutorial for the side seam pockets, but in fact this is not necessary, as in this video here I'll show you also the workmanship details. The waistband we also need in a soft interlining, and as I want to use up some interlining rests here, I'm just cutting it in several pieces and then ironing it on with a small overlapping. You can cut the interlining for the half of the waistband, so only for the outer layer, or for the whole waistband like I've did it here. Okay, so let's have a look on all the pattern parts. I've laid the parts on the floor as I will sew them together later. This here is the back panel of the skirt, with here the center back, with notches at the top and at the lower edge. This is the back ruffle, normally in two pieces, but I have made it here in one piece. Then we have here the front panels of the skirt. The short edge here is the front edge, and these are the front ruffles. The straight edge here is the one which will be sewn to the front panels of the skirt, and the curved edge is the hemline. Then I have 4 times the pocket bags here, as I'll make side seam pockets for this skirt version. Then I have here the inner ties and the outer ties here, each 2 times. Then comes the waistband part. I have it once in the main fabric and once in the interlining. Now we can start with the actual sewing work. At first we have to close the seam in the back ruffle, of course only if you have one. I'm simulating this here because I have no seam in the center back of the ruffle part. The seam allowance here is 1 centimeter. After closing the seam, I have to cast the seam allowance. This you can do with your overlock sewing machine or with a zigzag stitch. Then I'm continuing with the ties. I'm taking 1 outer tie and 1 inner tie, and I'm folding 1 short side to the wrong fabric side, and then folding the whole tie lengthwise into the half, while the right fabric side is now at the inside. This procedure I'm making for 1 outer tie and 1 smaller inner tie. The ironing is not really necessary, but makes the life a little bit less complicated. The other 2 remaining ties I'm also folding lengthwise to the half, with the wrong fabric side to the inside, but here I'm not folding the short sides. Then I'm sewing the ties. I'm sewing with 1 centimeter seam allowance along 1 long edge and 1 short edge, the one which is not folded. Like this, 1 short side remains open, so that we can turn around the ties later to the right fabric side. After the inner ties, now the outer, wider ties are following. Afterwards, I'm trimming all the seam allowances down to 5 mm. At the corners I'm cutting even more and trimming down to 1 to 2 millimeters only. Here I'm trimming the seam allowance of the wider ties. Here additionally I'm clipping into the seam allowance along the rounding here. And at this corner also I'm trimming the seam allowance to 1 to 2 millimeter only. As soon as I've trimmed all seam allowances, I can now turn around the ties to the right fabric side. The wider tie I'm turning around with the help of this wooden spoon. And then I'm pushing carefully with my scissors into the corner of the tie to make this edge look nice. Here I really have to be careful because otherwise there will be a hole in my tie. The smaller inner ties are too small for the wooden spoon, so here I'm taking a pencil. As you can see, I'm beginning the process at the side which is closed. Afterwards, I'm just pressing flat all the ties. If you have a seam in the center back of the ruffle part, it's now also time to iron this seam to one of the sides, no matter which side. And I'm ironing on my interlining with its gluing side to the wrong fabric side. The next step will be that we're making the ruffles. So we're linking the ruffle parts to the skirt panels. At first I'm setting my stitch length to the maximum, and then I'm adding a seam along the edges which should be gathered later, about 5 millimeters away from the edge. This seam I'm adding to all 3 ruffle parts. Then, when I'm pulling at one of the threads, the ruffle part is gathered. So this is my gathering method, and if you want to see this more detailed, here is a link to the detailed video tutorial. Then I'm making sure that the right fabric sides of the back skirt panel and the back ruffle comes together, and I'm aligning the notches for the center back. And then I'm continuing with the gathering work, and I'm fixing everything with pins. Make sure that the extra width of the ruffle part is distributed equally along the length of the skirt edge. Now follow the front panels. The straight edge of the ruffle part is the one which will be linked to the skirt part. I'm gathering the ruffle part with my method, putting the right fabric sides together, distributing the extra width of the ruffle part equally, and then fixing everything with pins. At the front edge, about 3 cm have to remain ungathered, means flat, as later we will fold this edge for a nice finish. Okay, so now we have prepared all the ruffles. This is how it looks like at the moment. Now we can close these ruffle seams and cast them. Here I'm closing the ruffle seam, and the seam allowance is as always 1 cm. As you can see, the side with the gatherings is laying on top. Like this, I can still control the gatherings while sewing. After you've finished these 3 ruffle seams, you can pull out the gathering thread if you like to. Now I'm casting the seam allowances of these 3 seams, and I'm using here my overlock sewing machine. If you don't have one, you can also use a zigzag stitch from your regular sewing machine.
Then I'm ironing these seams, and here the seam allowance should point upwards. Okay, so that looks already great. Now it's time to make the side seams. Here I'm making side seam with pockets in them, but if you don't want pockets, you can skip some steps. In this case, you just have to close the side seams, cast them and iron to the back. That's all. But here in this video, I'm following the pocket making steps. So at first we have to cast the side seams separately here, means all the side seams in the skirt parts and the edges which are the side seams in the pockets. This is what I'm doing here. Take care that the ruffle seam allowance is still pointing upwards. Then we will add the pocket bags to the skirt parts along the side seams. I'm putting both right fabric sides together and aligning the notches for the pockets. Then I'm sewing on the pockets with 1 cm seam allowance, and I'm sewing only from notch to notch, means at the top and at the bottom of the pocket bag 1 cm of the fabric will hang loose. This seam I'm repeating for all 4 pocket bags. Then I'm cutting off all the thread ends and I'm ironing apart the seam allowances. Then we will close the side seams, the distance above the pockets and below the pockets. Here I'm pinning the side seams together and I'm taking care that the pocket notches are aligning and that the ruffle seams meet exactly. The right fabric sides of the skirt are now together. It is quite practical to begin both sections of the side seam at the pocket notches, because like this the fabric doesn't move too much under the sewing machine, and especially in this pocket area we have to work very precisely. Again, I'm sewing with 1 cm seam allowance. So this was the first part of the side seam. Now I'm turning around my piece and then closing the second part. Please take care that you don't sew in the pocket bags. After the side seam, I'm closing now the pocket bags. At the side seam area of the pocket bags, I'm keeping this 1 cm fold of the fabric. At first, I'm pinning both layers together. And then I'm closing the pocket bags with 1 cm seam allowance. At last, I'm neatening the edges of the pocket bags. If you have used an overlocker like me, now it's time to thread in the seam ends into the overlock seam. This I'm doing for all 4 seam ends. I'm also cutting off all other thread ends. Then I'm ironing apart the side seam allowance. At the top of the skirt there's a small hip rounding, so there in this area I'm not ironing this flat completely, but ironing very carefully and only with the tip of my iron. Then I'm ironing again the seam from the right fabric side, and I'm ironing also the pocket bags to the front skirt. This is where they should lay when wearing the skirt. Again, I'm not destroying the small hip rounding here. Then follows the second side seam. To secure the pocket corners, we will now place small bar tacks or seams right at the ends of the pockets. For this short stitching we need a shorter stitch length. I'm changing mine to 1 only. Then I'm just placing my bar tacks at the corners of the pockets, and I'm also checking what's going on underneath, so that everything, the seam allowance and the pocket bags, are in the correct position. These seams are really very short, perhaps 5 or 7 millimeters long only, and I'm sewing back and forth a few times. Now I'm preparing the hem edge. Here you have different possibilities. At the pattern there is 1 cm seam allowance included for the hem. So one possibility would be that you cast the hem edge first, then fold and iron the hem edge 1 cm towards the wrong fabric side and then stitch this down. Or you choose the second possibility, like me here. I'm folding, ironing and pinning the hem edge twice, 5 for 5 mm towards the wrong fabric side, and then stitching the hem. Here I'm doing this from the wrong fabric side or from the inside of the skirt. Normally I'm a big fan of doing this from the outside or the right fabric side, but in this case this is too risky, even for me. Now that looks already like a skirt. Now we're making the front edges here. I'm folding, ironing and then fixing with pins the front edge twice for 1 cm towards the wrong fabric side. That's the second front edge. Then I'm stitching the front edge, and you can do this from the right fabric side or the wrong fabric side. This depends now, of course, how you're storing your clothes, but I'm adding hanger loops to my skirt, and therefore I'm cutting 2 pieces of satin tape, each 20 cm long. Then we can fix the waistband to the skirt. So at first I'm folding my satin tapes into loops and then fixing them with a loop pointing downwards at the side seams. Then I'm pinning the waistband to the skirt. Here all the notches at the waistband and the skirt have to align. The right fabric side of the waistband is now together with the wrong fabric side or the inside of the skirt, and the upper edges are aligning. At the front edge of the waistband, I'm folding the edge 1 cm towards the wrong fabric side of the waistband. Look here again at the second front edge of the waistband. I'm again folding it 1 centimeter towards the wrong fabric side. Then I'm sewing on the waistband with 1 centimeter seam allowance. Now I'm ironing the waistband seam. Here the seam allowance should point upwards, means into the waistband. Then I'm turning around the skirt to the right fabric side, and here I'm folding and ironing the upper edge of the waistband about 8 mm towards the wrong fabric side. At the same time, I'm also folding the waistband lengthwise into the half, or folding it downwards, so that the edge of the waistband covers now the previous waistband seam. Here again a detailed view. I'm folding the upper edge of the waistband 8 mm towards the wrong fabric side, and then I'm folding the waistband downwards lengthwise to the half, and now the waistband edge covers the previous linking seam. This is quite a common workmanship for waistbands, that you sew them in from the inside of the garment and then turning it to the outside. Now that the waistband is pinned to the skirt, we're fixing now also 2 ties to the front edges of the waistband. These are the ties which aren't folded at the short side. The bigger outer tie I'm pinning to the left side of the skirt. To fit it to the waistband width, I'm just folding it somehow, and then I'll pin it to the waistband. The inner tie, the smaller one, I'm pinning to the right side of the skirt. Here I'm fixing now the outer tie. I'm removing a pin, then folding the white tie to the waistband width, and then inserting it with 1 centimeter overlapping into the waistband. Then I'm fixing everything again with a pin. The right side of the skirt with the inner tie, the smaller one, I'm doing similar, but here I don't have to fold the tie. I'm just inserting it with 1 centimeter overlapping again into the waistband edge. Now we can finish the waistband and close it, and this seam will also hold the ties. We're beginning the seam here at the small vertical edge, then sewing all around, and then again fixing the other tie. I'm starting the seam with the wider outer tie, making the short vertical seam, and then I'm continuing to close the waistband along the lower edge. The second short vertical seam will hold then the smaller inner tie. Now the last steps have come. We're fixing the 2 remnant ties, and these are the ones which we have folded at the short sides before. The remnant wider outer tie I'm fixing at the right side seam of the skirt at the outside, and again I'm folding it in pleats so that it fits to the width of the waistband. The remnant inner tie I'm fixing to the left side seam, but at the inside of the skirt. Both ties should point to the center front. Then I'm stitching on the 2 ties. You can see the seam is right on the waistband and just along the edge of the tie. This one is the seam for the wider outer tie. And here I'm stitching on the inner tie at the inside of the skirt. Ready, you've made it!
I hope you've enjoyed this sewing tutorial and that everything went well. If you have any questions or problems, just contact me via email to info@Koba.Siani.com and I'll be glad to help you. Don't forget to like this video, leave me a thumbs up here on YouTube and subscribe to my channel. Or follow me on social media for more creative content. I hope to see you very soon again in my next sewing video. Take care until then, bye!